Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production. Available on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned in to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Beyond the Darkness. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. That guy over there, Tim Dennis at the Supernatural News Desk. We've got a lot of stories to get through this week, folks. A lot of stories. And at the end of the show, I've got a brand new under your skin bug infestation story. Tim, I think it might become my new thing. We'll call it Dave Bugs You.
Dave Bugs You, huh?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
It's time for Dave to bug you because people are now sending me these horrific stories regarding bug infestations.
All right.
So we'll work on that in just a bit, but we've got a lot of stories to cover. And I do want to remind people, we have a phone number, Tim. I don't know if you're aware of this.
No, I had no idea.
Right. I set up a phone number for people to call us. It is 651-300-4977. 651-300-4977. That's the number that we set up as our Voices from Beyond voicemail. And what people can do, Tim, is they pick up their phone and they call that number.
Mm-hmm.
They can tell us their paranormal experiences. You like that?
I like that, yeah.
They could leave their message, and then we're going to play it on the episode like we're going to do in a little bit. We've got a new call. We're going to share it. We want to share more, so you people have to stop being so damn stingy. You know what's funny is, Tim, they're acting like, oh, it's going to cost me money. Phone calls are free now.
They are?
Oh, it's gonna take me forever. It's 3 minutes. If you want to go long, 6 minutes. That's it. Call us while you're pooping.
I don't want to hear that. No,
you don't want to hear
No.
And then I was climbing, and I saw the Bigfoot.
There's
you don't want to hear that?
Really no way for me to edit that. No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then just call us when you have a few minutes to share your story. 651-300-4977. You can also email your stories to me. Dave@darknessradio.com. That's Dave@darknessradio.com. And keep checking out darknessradio.com. We have some exciting things that are brewing, and we'll be updating it on darknessradio.com when it drops. Get all of your news at darknessradio.com. Any updates, any cool experiences, anything going on. Speaking of cool things going on, Tim, you and I are off tomorrow. We are heading to the Bahamas, Tim.
Yes.
Yeah, right true to middle, as my dad would say, right true to middle out of Bermuda Triangle, Tim.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that's where we're heading. We're going to the Bahamas on the Jericho Cruise 2. It is a rock and wrestling extravaganza. We'll be a part of it, telling ghost stories, doing 2 live podcasts. So next week on the show, you'll get to hear live shows from the ship. And we'll have a couple of special guests joining us to tell some paranormal stories and thoughts on different aspects of the supernatural. So we hope you'll tune in and check that out. And also, just keep helping us out. Go into iTunes to rate and review. Beyond the Darkness helps us out a lot. So please continue to do that. It costs you nothing. 5 stars. Just throw them up there for us. 5 stars and, hey, hell of a show. Great paranormal show. Wonderful paranormal show. Dave Schrader could be the greatest paranormal radio show host ever. Tim's not bad either. Just anything like that. Just put that out there.
I'll take that, sure.
5 stars. 5 stars. That's all I'm asking for, Tim.
Yeah.
People, they don't send me Christmas gifts. They don't buy me flowers. They don't sing me love songs. They hardly talk to me anymore when they come through the door at the end of their day.
Easy there, Barbara. That's a dated reference.
I know. I was going more for the Neil Diamond-y side of it before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of our world. Just help us out. That's all. Just go promote, and share this show on your social media. Let people know about the greatness that is Beyond the Darkness. All right, Tim Dennis.
Yeah.
Supernatural news correspondent par excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Have we got any stories this week?
Nope. We're done.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Yep,
Thanks
good
a
night.
lot for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed this 4 minutes and 38 seconds.
Well, Dave, we do. I lied about that last part.
You were fibbing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I was looking forward to early vacation, but I guess that ain't happening. We got shows to do, my friend.
All right, let us roll out then, and we'll be back tomorrow, Tim, with I Kissed a Ghost and I Liked It. Huh?
Oh, Katy Perry's on.
No, Conchetta Bertoldi is back with us.
Oh, okay.
And her book, I Kissed a Ghost and I Like It. We'll have to see where this goes, but let's see where today goes first. Timothy, David, Dennis,
What?
The floor is yours, sir.
What did I do?
Nothing. I'm giving you your due, son. You know, it's like whenever somebody is receiving a prestigious award, Tim, or being recognized as a serial killer, their middle names are always given. And I feel in this instance, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
All right, then. Dave, we're in danger again. We're in danger.
We're in danger, you say?
Yeah. I had a couple people tell me they were disturbed by last week and that they were worried.
In what sense?
Worried for me.
I can think of many different reasons people should be disturbed by our show.
Well, because you kind of stacked the deck a little bit last week, and
I stacked the deck. How so?
You did. Well, with all the AI stories, which. By the way, thoughts and prayers to all our brothers and sisters over at iHeartRadio whose jobs are being eliminated by AI, Dave. You didn't throw that one in there, did you?
No, I didn't, because you know what? I never know when my bread might need to be buttered again, and I just figured it was better not to go after the hand I may need to feed me at some point.
It ain't going to be buttered over at iHeart. All the jobs are being taken by AI. But I'm just saying. But evidently people thought I might have been losing my mind slightly last week. I got to explain something to people. It's a bit.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Yeah.
Just like me, I'm not afraid of the outdoors. I love being in the outdoors. I couldn't even pretend to say that for too long, Tim. I hate the outdoors. It's like eating dirty and things want to eat you.
We have a hard time on the cruise prying Dave out of the cabin to come up to the deck.
Yeah.
But
I don't mind that. That's safe outdoors. There's no wild bears. There's no ticks and fleas. All I got to deal with is long hairs and spandex, Tim.
You've never seen the sharks jump up to the top deck?
No.
Oh, you weren't around for that, were you?
Staying in my room. Flying sharks now, Tim?
Yeah, flying sharks. I'll have to show you.
Like zoinks, man. I'm staying in my room.
We'll have a couple of shots in New Amsterdam, and you and I will go up to the top deck and we'll watch you flying sharks.
Oopie doopie. All right. Yeah. Well, let's get started in the world of supernatural news. What have you got for me?
It turns out we're again in grave danger, Dave. Gravely grave. It turns out that...
wow. Not just grave danger. Gravely grave.
Gravely grave, Dave. That's what the Navy is saying. And it has to do with UFOs. You heard me, sir.
I heard you.
They're not friendly. For all of you who think Sasquatch is a loving, friendly, giving monster, I say. For all of you who think aliens are here just to lovingly cuddle us and come down and clean up our water and air and pat us on the head and give us new medicines and technology, I say. That ain't a bit.
Yikes. How do you really feel?
I'm just saying you should be cautious. Cautious is a good word. You should always have one eye looking in one direction and one eye looking in another. Oh, sure, it
Sleep
hurts.
with one eye open, clutching your pillow tight, exit light. Like that?
Whenever you do that, I think you're trying out for Tenacious D.
Is that what's Tenacious D? I am Tenacious, and my name is Dave, so Tenacious D would make sense.
What is Tenacious D?
Yeah.
Did you just say that?
Is that a thing I should be aware of?
Oh, David.
Is it a funky New Amsterdam upbeat techno club dance group?
Oh, David.
No?
You don't know what Tenacious D is?
Jack Black and his goofy brother.
Yeah. I figured maybe you're trying to turn that into a trio. I did.
No. No. Okay. Tenacious D's? Ooh, maybe. I like it.
Yeah, see?
Fuck, all right. Oh, let me think about that while you tell us what's going on.
Well, it turns out that top secret UFO files could gravely damage U.S. national security if released. This according to the Navy. It's true.
I'm not going to call them liars. They're the Navy.
And when you're in the Navy, of course, you're just one step away from the village people. The truth is out there, but you're still not allowed to see it. This according to the Navy. In November 2004, several U.S. Navy pilots stationed aboard the USS Nimitz encountered a tic-tac-shaped UFO darting and dashing over the Pacific Ocean in apparent defiance of the laws of physics. Navy officials dubbed the strange craft an unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Do-do-do-do-do.
A phenomenon.
Do-do-do-do.
An unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do.
But they have remained mum on what exactly that phenomenon could have been. Now, surprisingly, to anyone who's ever considered making a hat out of tinfoil, and I think there might be some people in our audience who might have.
You think?
I'm just saying. The military has confirmed that they know more than they're letting on. In response to a recent Freedom of Information Act request, a spokesperson from the Navy's Office of Naval Intelligence, or ONI as the kids call it, they do.
What kids? Not my kids.
You know, the kids in the neighborhood.
The kids in my neighborhood?
No, maybe
they
not.
Don't talk
yours.
to me. I'm the creepy old guy in the haunted house. That's what they say when they walk by and point their fingers.
Oh, okay. The kids in my neighborhood, the ones that hang out in the block at the playground,
with Jenny of the block?
No, she's a little too old for them.
Oh.
She's 50, and she's got all her dangly bits hanging out. I don't think that they're playing with her.
She's doing all right in my book.
Well, for most people, yeah. But ONI confirmed that the agency possesses several top secret documents and at least one classified video pertaining to the 2004 UFO encounter. This according to Vice. Yeah. According to the ONI spokesperson, these documents were either labeled secret or top secret by the agencies that provided them, and that sharing the information with the public would cause exceptionally grave damage to the national security of the United States.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Should I be frightened?
I'd say slightly aware. Yeah, maybe not frightened, but
okay.
Yeah. Well, these top secret files included several briefing slides about the incident provided by the ONI provided to the ONI by an unnamed agency. It's another alphabet agency, Dave. Because ONI officials did not classify the slides personally, they are unable to declassify them. This according to a spokesperson. The ONI also admitted to possessing at least one video of an unknown length classified as secret by the Naval Air Systems Command, or NAVAIR. Get it?
I don't at all. Sorry.
Okay. ONI didn't reveal whether this footage is the same 1-minute video that was leaked online in 2007 and widely released by the New York Times in 2017. However, in November of 2019, several naval officers who witnessed the incident aboard the Nimitz told Popular Mechanics that they had seen a much longer video of the encounter that was between 8 and 10 minutes long. These original recordings were promptly collected and erased by unknown individuals who arrived on the ship by helicopter shortly after the incident, this according to one officer.
Just giving you a little X-Files theme in the background there.
That's okay.
Unidentified people just show up in a helicopter. Can't figure out how to do a metal voice version of that.
There's one out there.
Yeah.
There's a metal version of the X-Files.
Is there really?
Yeah, I do have it.
Da-da-do-da-dee.
Not a Louis Armstrong version, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. Well,
Luis Elizondo, a former Pentagon staffer who helped make the Navy video public, told Vice that people should not be surprised by the revelation that other videos exist and at great length. The Freedom of Information request submitted in October of 2019 by an independent researcher asked for access to any non-classified records or portions of records regarding the 2004 UFO encounter, no additional documents were mentioned in the ONI's response, but besides the classified briefing and video. My guess is that ONI request might have come from our friend over at the blackvault.com. I'm just saying, yeah. He files quite a few of them per year, so I'm guessing that that might have come from him. I'm just saying, yeah.
Is that all?
That's all for that story.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So they're afraid, overall, basic boil down of this is that the government is admitting that they have more, and they think it's, help me out here, Tim, in the psychology of this. They think it's safer to tell us they've got more that we'll never see because it will cause a panic. They don't think that the public is going to be more freaked out by what they're imagining could be on that film?
Nope. In a roundabout way.
That might be a bad choice.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. Could be a bad choice.
I think it's definitely a bad choice, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you and me both.
The government's not known for making good choices, though.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Not often.
Yeah.
This is not a slight against our current administration,
No.
nor is it support of our current administration.
It's all administrations.
Tim and I are the Sweden of the airwaves. Is that right? Sweden? Are they the ones that are always neutral?
They are neutral, yeah.
The Swiss?
The
And they
Swiss,
make excellent hot chocolate, Tim.
Oh, do they ever? And they manage to have a fine banking system.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allegedly, I don't know about that.
They make a good knife as well.
Ooh, look at you.
Their army.
All
does,
right.
Yeah.
Don't get all pokey at me with this. Let's get going. What's our next story, my good friend?
Well, Dave, we go to an odd story of a billionaire who is hosting a girlfriend contest, which tells you how he made his billions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hosting a girlfriend contest, you say?
Yes, evidently he's unable to do it on his own with his billions.
Okay.
Most guys could. Evidently he has to host a contest. It gets weirder from there, Dave.
Okay.
There's a side prize for the girl, the lucky girl who decides to win. She gets
Is it Tim Dennis's phone number finally given out?
No, that's not it, Dave. She gets to be the first woman to the moon.
Bang, zoom, Alice.
Not like that. No.
Oh.
And here's a shocker, Dave. People absolutely hate it. So I think he's still going to be looking for a girlfriend after this contest. Yeah.
Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Hey,
It's not.
how about you, Chicky Poo? You want to go for a little ride to the stars?
It's not even like that. It's not even a romantic trip to the moon. Not a metaphorical trip to the moon.
How can you go to the moon and not make it romantic? I mean, it's the moon, Tim. Oh, you know why? Because when you get there, you can't kiss under the moonlight because you are part of the moonlight.
Yeah,
I would think that would make it even sexier.
Spacesuits aren't very sexy, Dave. And
I'd make out with you on the moon, Tim.
Oh, would you?
When's the next time I could tell anybody I made out on the moon? And if you were the only one there, dude, as the old song says, if you can't love the one you want, love the Tim you're with. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. My musical Tourette's is getting worse, buddy.
Especially after I make no-no in my space diaper.
What?
Well, let's think about this for a minute. I mean,
You have to?
there's not
Can we vote on this? Show of hands. 1 against, 1 for. Damn it, it's a tie. Go ahead.
Well, let's think about this for a minute. It's not very romantic to make this trip to space, and especially to the moon. I mean, you've got to
Tim,
think
I
about.
just said I was going to make out with you. I didn't say we had to get naked.
Well, no, I'm
Keep
just
your no diapers down there. I'm planning on just giving you a smooch on the lips.
I'm just saying, if you're thinking like a lady and you want to present yourself, in a
I was thinking
sexy
of you
way.
more as the lady between the two of us, to be honest
Well,
with you.
no, I'm just saying, but I'm talking about from the girlfriend's perspective in this contest,
Okay.
and you want to be all that you can be for this billionaire. Going to space in a suit, and then you think about what you got to do to get ready for space. It's not
All right.
attractive.
Well, thanks for squeezing all the romance out of that.
Well, I'm just saying. Let's get to the article. It says, will the first woman to travel to the moon be the winner of a billionaire's first billionaire's girlfriend contest? I'm assuming it's the first girlfriend he's ever had. It sounds like the wantings and needings of a 6-year-old, honestly. We really hope not. On Sunday, this past Sunday, Japanese billionaire Yusaku Maezawa, founder of the Japanese online retailer ZozoTown. I don't know if you've ever been to ZozoTown, Dave, but I believe Lip Sync sang about it in the 80s. That's your musical cue, by the way.
I know, and I was trying to... I can't get my head around the song right now. Won't you take me to ZozoTown?
There you go. And an avid fine art collector is Yusaku Maezawa. He tweeted, "Wanted, why not be the first woman to travel to the moon? Hashtag MZ _looking_for_love." Aw. He's got that BTS vibe to him, doesn't he?
I guess.
Alongside an image of him with the moon with the caption, "Come to the moon with me."
Gotta make a move to a moon that's right for me. Do 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 do.
I'm talking BTS, and you just went right straight back to the 80s.
Yeah.
In 2018, Maezawa announced that he and 6 to 8 artists would become the first passengers on SpaceX's Starship spacecraft, which would fly around the moon without landing. Oh, so you have to go no-no in a diaper. You can't go no-no on the moon.
That's right.
Interesting. Now it seems as though the 44-year-old father of 2 intends for one of those seats to go to the winner of his contest looking for women ages 20 or older to apply to be his girlfriend and the first woman to the moon.
What does he want? Does he want to crack open the first bottle of champagne on the 20 million mile club?
Here's the problem. You crack open that champagne and it's going to go all over the ship. You're weightless.
I guess so.
Yeah. In a turn of events that is shocking to no one, this call for girlfriend applications has received immediate intense backlash, Dave. That's right. No one wants to take up Mr. Maezawa's offer, evidently. A large number of responses on Maezawa's tweet include expletives and are therefore not included in our little reading of this article.
Right.
Here. Yeah.
Right.
Overall, it seems as though most people have negative feelings about the contest. The major criticism of the contest, which many have echoed on Twitter, is that the contest aims to fly the first woman to the moon. So instead of one of the many women who have worked tirelessly, words is hard, Dave, to become astronauts or who hope to one day become astronauts making this historic journey, it would be a woman chosen by a billionaire solely for a romantic relationship.
That's life. That's what all the people say. Tim, when are they going to learn money makes the world go round? Is it fair? No, life is not fair, you little gingerbread cookies. You have to realize that things happen a certain way. And it just so happens, if you're a billionaire, you can buy your chick's way to the moon. You don't have to like it. It doesn't matter. Just saying, Tim. I'm all for industry, man. I'm all industry. Is that industry? I'm all for industry. And I'm for love. And I'm for happiness. Come on, Tim. And I'm for, if they don't like it, can't they just let it pass?
I kind of see their point. I
really
can see where you would want the first woman on the moon to be an astronaut. I can agree with that.
I don't care, truthfully. I just want to see the first, people get to the moon. I don't care how they got to the moon.
And technically, you're flying around the moon, so...
Yeah, that's even better. See, so the first astronaut's going to probably get to land on the moon. This chick just gets to drive around it. It's like me going, hey, let's go for a ride around houses I can't afford to buy for you. And she's like, let's do it, right? And I spend $10,000 for the limo to take her on a drive around the rich neighborhood, Tim. Really? Does that mean all the girls that are busting their ass trying to earn money to get into those houses are going to be pissed off because I spent $10,000 to just drive my girl around the rich neighborhood? I don't think so. It's not like she gets to touch the moon.
Maybe she reaches out of the window and does.
I don't think that's a thing, Tim. I think the vacuum of space would be deadly in that case.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So not only would the woman chosen by Maezawa be a prop in a largely publicized spectacle, according to them, but this contest could set an example for younger generations of women that their willingness to engage in a romantic relationship could get them farther than hard work in a STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math field. The quote here is, "Mom, who was the first woman to travel to the moon?" "Well, she won a dating contest," is not the answer I would want to give my child.
Why? Then that shows that it can happen for anybody. I'm Dave Schrader, defense attorney at law.
The quote continues, "Not against the concept in general, but firsts are special. History remembers them. I need this one to be done right." Emily Calandrelli, a Emmy-nominated science communicator and host of the Exploration Outer Space Science TV show on Fox, said on Twitter in response to Maezawa's contest. Naya Butler Craig, an aerospace engineer and PhD student at Georgia Tech, added on Twitter, "Just because I know this will probably get negative traction, no shade to the lady who accepts, but my heart will hurt if in history books the first woman to go to the moon is only going to be known as a billionaire's girlfriend, not the message we want to send to future explorers." The matchmaking fiasco, which is currently being turned into a documentary called Full Moon Lovers, I'm not making that up, to be broadcast on a streaming service, is accepting applications until January 17th, which I believe by the time this airs, that will be over. That deadline is over. So sorry, ladies.
Can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
So would people be against a beautiful, brilliant female scientist applying for the role of girlfriend? What if there's a single, and I guess beautiful is subjective. That was the wrong word to start with, so I apologize already. But I'm just saying, would they be as opposed to
a scientist or an astronaut applying?
Yeah, a female scientist or female astronaut to go up there.
I don't think so. I think in that case, maybe it's the best of both worlds.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw what you did there. The best of both worlds. Although I'm not going to launch into the Miley Cyrus song, Tim.
Don't do that. Go Sammy Hagar and Van Halen if you're going to go that deal.
No, yeah. I'm sorry. I've got too many kids. All that I can hear in my head now is Hannah Montana. Take it away, Tim. Please make it go.
No. Well, let's continue with the article. On the contest website that Maezawa links into his tweet, he specifies even further what he's looking for in a girlfriend. According to his specifications on the page, applicants must have a bright personality and always positive, be interested in going into space and able to participate in the preparation for it, want to enjoy life to the fullest, and be someone who wishes for world peace. In 2018, when Maezawa first started planning for his moon journey, the Starship and Super Heavy launch vehicle, which were then collectively known as BFR, or Big Falcon rocket. I can't make that up, Dave. That's what they named it at SpaceX. We're in the early stages of development. The Big Falcon rocket. Say it 10 times fast. In September of 2019, SpaceX founder and chief executive Elon Musk unveiled the first completed Starship prototype, the Mk1, and he provided an update to SpaceX's progress towards getting its new reusable spaceship and mega rocket off the ground and ultimately to the moon. A few months later, in November, a prototype of the spacecraft suffered an anomaly during a pressure test. SpaceX's plans to launch the first test flight of its Starship prototype as early as October, with the first commercial launches beginning in 2021. The first Starship missions will launch satellites into low Earth orbit, but eventually SpaceX aims to use the spacecraft in going to the moon, Mars, and potentially to other destinations afterwards. Maezawa's mission, which is named
Operation Get Laid.
Yes,
that would be mine. I'm guessing, Tim. That would be the name of the mission if I were heading it up.
Yeah,
and I was a billionaire trying to get a chick to go to the moon with me. That makes, I got to tell you, makes for a hell of a first date.
It does. 1 second here.
You know what? Maybe you and I should protest. Because it's not fair that only billionaires can afford to do this. They're worried about who the first woman is that's going to get up to the moon. What about us? What about the poor people of the planet, Tim. When are they going to start worrying about, why aren't the poor people going, oh, it's not fair that this jackass gets to go to the moon and I don't? Well, I want $1 billion.
Oh,
just saying.
True. Maezawa's mission was named what you said. It's named Dear Moon #. Currently on track to launch to the moon in 2023, together with a group of 6 to 8 artists, because you want the lady to swoon, evidently, including possibly the winner of the contest. Maezawa will travel in a loop around the moon without landing on it in a flight that lasts 5 days and 23 hours. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I think go for it. Go for it. That was a very 1980s movie reference there, Tim.
That is very 1980s.
Yeah. Truthfully, people just get so upset over the dumbest things. First of all, Tim, let's just examine what was the first thing on his list that this woman is going to need to be?
A woman?
well, there's that. But it was always positive and always in a happy mood.
Right.
What human being is always in a positive, happy mood, Tim? So automatically, nobody has to worry. He's never going to find the right missus. And I'm not putting this just on women. I'm saying in general.
Martha Stewart or Rachel Ray?
If your choice, your date has to be in a perfect mood and always upbeat and happy, it ain't happening.
Kelly Lee Ripa?
Oh, yeah. She's always cheerful and bubbly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was a billionaire, I'd take her to the moon.
Just saying. I mean, there's options out there. He's a billionaire. He can afford anybody, really. I mean,
yeah.
If you're bribing.
It's, but the honest thing is, Tim, if you're not always in a bubbly mood, you're not always in a good mood, maybe you're dealing with a lot of anxiety and dark recesses of your past and mind, you don't have to worry, Tim, because maybe you're listening to the show right now and you're thinking, damn it, I'll never be the woman that he chooses. I might have an answer for that, Tim.
Oh, what's that?
Feels. It's a better way to feel better. It's premium CBD that will keep your head clear and help you feel your best. CBD has been proven to greatly reduce anxiety, pain, and sleeplessness. Navigating the world of CBD, that can be a complicated thing. At Feels, they look to make the process as simple as possible so you can start feeling better sooner. New to CBD, Feels offers a free CBD hotline and text support to help guide you through the discovery process. No CBD is right for you? Feels hassle-free membership program is guaranteed to help you feel your best month after month or your money back. It's that simple, Tim. Right? You can hop on $1 million flight to the moon. If you're not happy with it, the in-flight movie service didn't work, Tim?
Yeah.
They ran out of little bottles of booze?
Right.
You can't get a refund at the end of that.
That's right.
But if you try Feels and you find out it's not for you, you can get your money back. It's that simple, Tim. They ship it direct to your doorstep in just a few days. You don't have to wait 5 days and 15 hours or whatever, like flying around the moon would do for you, Tim. You can feel better right now if you contact Feels. I've been using Feels. I deal with anxiety. I've been very open with you guys about that. Feels is one of those tools that I rely on, especially when I'm having trouble sleeping at night because the mind is going 100 miles an hour and I can't find the right thing to quiet me down. A couple drops of Feels under the tongue. Tim, it does the job for me every time. Helps out my wife. If we're out on the road and she's dealing with some of her chronic pain issues, she can whip out the vial of Feels. Couple drops, she's feeling like $1 million again. It is that simple. And yes, I really do use this. Yes, my wife really does use Feels, folks. And we want you to feel better as well. What is Feels? It is a premium CBD that's delivered directly to your doorstep. Feels naturally helps reduce your stress, anxiety, pain, and your sleeplessness. You just place a few drops of Feels under your tongue, and you feel the difference within minutes. So again, if you're new to CBD, Feels offers a free CBD hotline and text message support to help you guide your personal experience. Feels works naturally to help you feel better. There is no high, there's no hangover, there's no addiction. You don't have to worry about that. You get all of the best parts without feeling like you're out of control or being left with a come down or a hangover of any sorts. You get only the best and you feel great when you get a chance to try it. So this is it. Become a member and get 50% off your first order. How about that, Tim? Isn't that a pretty good thing?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So here it is. Feels has me feeling my best every day, folks. And I know it can help you too. You can become a member today by going to feels.com/darkness. And you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/darkness and become a member and get 50% off that very first order plus free shipping. So what are you waiting for? FEALS.com/darkness. Become a member now, save, and you will start feeling better. That's a promise from your pal here on Beyond the Darkness. All right, Timothy. Where shall we go next, sir?
We're going to outer space, Dave. It turns out that
We're staying in outer space. Look at this. It's just a week of space travel.
We're going further into space, Dave. Further than you ever could have imagined because there's some radio signals coming from space.
Are we going past Uranus?
Way past my anus, Dave.
What?
We're about to go into territory you've never seen before, baby.
Okay. Wait, now that just made it seem like I've seen Uranus.
Maybe you have.
I have not, folks, for clarity.
Maybe you've seen it and enjoyed it and
just
chose not to think about it again.
No, bad touch of the mind, Tim. Bad touch of the mind. Where are we going?
You never took planets in school and looked at the solar system?
Not like this, I haven't.
Oh, okay. A mysterious repeating radio signal traced to a strange V-shaped star is forming in the region of a massive spiral galaxy. It's kind of intriguing. We have
some of that audio from it as well.
Okay.
I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to it, Tim.
I have, Dave. It's
okay. Let me put it on for you. This is the actual audio coming from deep space.
Here it is.
Transmissions.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned into the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Blitzkar Vigshnog, and that is Tishaba Bilaj. We are beyond the darkness of space.
Copyright infringement.
Yeah. How do we sue?
We got to talk to our agent.
Yeah. We got to get an agent.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We got to get a lawyer, too.
Yeah. How do you sue somebody in outer space, though? In space, one can hear you sue.
You put a subpoena on a light beam and you shoot that sucker out there.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there's this repeating radio signal, you say, from outer space.
Yeah, a set of repeating radio signals coming from deep space have been traced back to a huge spiral galaxy around 500 million light years away. These fast radio bursts are FIRBs. They're little Furbies. I love them. Were also found to be coming from an odd V-shaped star-forming region of the galaxy, but what is producing them is unknown. FRBs are powerful radio signals that last for just a few milliseconds because they're so short-lived. I can't talk today.
Short-lived. I hate when that happens. Nothing worse than a show short.
Oh, if you've ever show-shorted in public, you ran to your car in horror and amazement. They are often detected in astronomical data after the signal has passed Earth, so tracing them back to their original source is very difficult. Over 100 FRBs have been discovered over recent years, and most of these have been one-off events, potentially suggesting that they were caused by some cataclysmic event such as the collapse of a black hole or colliding neutron stars. However, the discovery of repeating FRBs means that this explanation could not account for all of these radio signals. The first repeating FRB is known as FRB 121102 and was discovered in 2017 and was eventually traced back to a dwarf galaxy. Oh, that's not nice. You can't call them dwarf galaxies, Dave.
No. Little people galaxies is what they're referred to nowadays.
That's right. And they're 3 billion light years away. Then last year, another repeating FRB, FRB 180916, was also discovered in a study published in Nature. An international 6 back to its source galaxy, finding it very different from the one where FRB 121102 originated. Had the two galaxies had similar properties, it may have helped narrow down what could be producing the radio bursts. Study author Jason Hessels from the Netherlands Institute for Radio Astronomy told Newsweek FRB 180916 comes from a large spiral galaxy similar to the Milky Way. At 500 million light-years away, it is by far the closest well-localized FRB to date, about 6 times closer compared to FRB 121102. It has about 100 times more stars than the galaxy FRB 121102 came from, whereas FRB 121102 had an associated persistent radio source, which had been hypothesized to represent a surrounding nebula or nearby black hole. We see no such source near FRB 180916, he added. Instead, FRB 180916 appears to be coming from an outer spiral arm and is associated with a strangely V-shaped star-forming region, Hessel said. We know that this is a star-forming region because we measured ionized gas at that location, and the source of the ionization or energy is consistent with coming from young stars. The V-shape of this region is quite odd. One speculation is that it could be a disrupted satellite dwarf galaxy of the spiral galaxy. Again, little people galaxy, little people galaxy. If so, that could be a way to make the situation more similar to what we saw with FRB 121102, but currently that is a very shaky hypothesis. What could be producing these radio bursts is a mystery. I'm really scratching my head, he said. For FRB 121102, a young magnetar. Doesn't he fight the X-Men on occasion? Magnetar?
No, I believe he's a transformer, Tim.
Oh, that's right. He's a transformer.
Magnetar, assemble.
All right. For FRB 121102, a young magnetar, a supermagnetized neutron star, appeared like a very plausible model. For FRB 180916, a somewhat older magnetar, much like the older X-Men movies as opposed to the newer ones, could still fit in the data, but I'm wondering if maybe a different source of energy, e.g. the interaction between the two nearby objects, like the jet of a black hole impinging on the strong magnetic field of a neutron star, couldn't be the answer. The scenario has also been hypothesized for FRB 121102, but was previously considered less plausible by many. He added that the radio source of FRB 121102 was thought to have been an extremely energetic nebula surrounding it. The lack of persistent radio source with FRB 180916 is quite puzzling. Maybe FRB 180916 had such a nebula and radio source, but it has faded away because the source is much older. Hessel said the team is hoping to use the Hubble telescope to look at the position of FRB 180916 more closely. That's actually one of the most exciting things about this source, he went on to say. Since it's so nearby, we can dig deep with our best optical, X-ray, and gamma-ray telescopes to try to distinguish between competing models by detecting emission and other wavelengths, this according to Hessel. So there you go.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
They keep dismissing, it's probably this. Why, if they're getting these repeating signals, why not give it more credence? I guess they don't want to build up any hopes, right? It's better to kind of keep people tempered.
Yeah,
and if you find out that it's really like, I'm Casey Kasem, and you're listening to Mars Top 20 Hits, right? And that's what we're getting is like some kind of bounce back from another planet that we're getting their radio signals.
Yeah, you have to be cautious with every FRB you get, because you have to determine the source, and then the second you have to determine how old that source is and what it is exactly you're getting, whether it's a bounce back off a star or if it's actually an originating source that is an intelligent source at that.
Gotcha. All right. Listen, phone lines, folks, 651-300-4977. That's the best way to reach us to share your story. And we love to hear your voices. I love your voices. I love making that connection with you when you call in and share your stories. So do it now. 651-300-4977. 651-300-4977. Pause the show at this point and call us and tell us your favorite ghost story, something that really was bizarre, a supernatural story of any kind. Maybe you've come up against a randy leprechaun. Perhaps you had an encounter with Bigfoot. Maybe you were drowning in Loch Ness and you felt something gently nudge you from the bottom and push you to shore safely. And all you saw as you started to wake up on the shoreline was a giant tail going under the water. Ooh, that'd be a good story, Tim.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That would be a good one. Damn it. Perhaps you were out with your friends lumberjacking. It's a thing, Tim. Look it up.
It is.
You were out lumberjacking each other in the woods.
What?
And, it's where you go on out together and you in tandem cut down trees, Tim. You're lumberjacking, but you do it together.
Okay.
So you don't want to be lumberjacking off by yourself in the woods somewhere, Tim. It's true.
What, doing what?
Lumberjacking, cutting down trees and junk. Because if one falls on you and you don't have somebody with you, Tim, you always want a partner there that can lift your wood if there's a need for it, Tim.
Oh, my God. I can't believe
Yeah, it's true.
There's kids that listen to this show.
I know, and it's important that they should know, should they want to become lumberjacks, Tim, that they shouldn't just cast this off without some serious consideration, that if you're going to be a lumberjack, you've got to go with a pal. It's the only way to live, Tim, because you don't want to find out later that you lost one of your friends because they couldn't get their wood off, Tim.
Oh, my God.
Am I right? Am I right?
Oh,
how bad would you feel if you and I were out in the woods and we separated and you found out later that I just couldn't get my wood off, Tim? If I died because of that, Tim, how bad would you feel? When you could have just been lumberjacking with me instead of lumberjacking off by yourself.
What?
It's a thing. Look it up. All right. Anyway, where was I going with this? I felt like I had something. Oh, yeah, we've got a call, don't we?
Yeah.
Let's take that call right now.
Hey, Tim. Hey, Dave. Sorry about that. Kind of super excited. First time caller. I just really wanted to give this report. I just seen something that's incredibly crazy. Like, I don't know if it's paranormal, UFO related. I really don't know. I couldn't really tell you. I'm actually from a small town in Utah, eastern Utah, in Roosevelt. Anyway, I was at the chase. As I was getting off, I work in the oil field. I was getting off of work, and I was shutting down my truck, and as I was leaving, getting ready to go to my vehicle, I just happened to look up into the night sky, looking toward the west. Anyway, as I was looking, I seen an unusual star pattern. It looked like just stars that were in a perfect alignment, and I thought, how cool is that? So as I was looking, I started to look closer, and I noticed that these stars were actually moving. And as I stared closer and closer, I really seen that they were moving. There had to be anywhere from about 25, 30 to maybe even 50 of these things, but they were just in perfect unison. And they weren't spaced apart perfectly, but I mean, fairly, they were fairly evenly spaced. So I called my wife, who was about 4 miles away from me. She ran outside to see, and sure enough, she could see them. She said that they were actually right above where I was at. Did not wanting to, be alone and thinking that I was crazy, because my wife thinks I'm crazy anyway. But I called a coworker over just to see if he's seen this, and he was completely baffled. And the first things that he said was, "I've never seen anything that looks like this." And he said he was actually retired or was in the Air Force. So we're standing there just looking at these lights, and they're just slowly traveling across the night sky, but right above us, they were actually disappearing. So I wouldn't say disappearing, but they were out of sight. There was a little small cloud in the area, and looking beyond that and anywhere around we couldn't see them. So he had called his wife, who was actually about 26, 27 miles away from where we were at, and to tell him about the lights, and she said that she could actually see the lights as well from where she was at. She was further eastward, but that she could see the lights. And like I said, she's about 26, 27 miles away from where we were actually standing, and that she said that the lights were actually above her house. So thought I'd call and report it as it happened. It's actually October 15th, around 7 o'clock. So I wanted to get this out fresh because like I said, I've never seen anything like this. Well, I love the podcast, guys. Huge fan. Yeah. So I thought, like I said, I have many more stories to continue on, but I can't believe that these lights were seen over a 26-mile radius, if not further away. But like I said, as we stared into the night sky, we could see other aircraft that were flying around. Nothing, it just, these lights, just like I said, they were just perfectly, they were just moving. I think the whole event took place, I want to say, over 5 minutes, if not longer. So yeah, I just wanted to call and give you guys a heads up as to, just some crazy paranormal stuff. So love the podcast, guys. Hopefully you get to hear this on the podcast. I definitely have more stories, and I will love to call in. My name's Jordan, by the way, if I didn't say it at the beginning. All right, guys. Thanks for your time. Bye.
All right, we're back. That's awesome. Thank you very much for that call. Love hearing from you, folks. Love your stories. 651-3077. That's the number to reach us if you want to be a part of the program. Now, people keep asking, hey, Dave, hey, Tim, where can we send cards and letters? We want to keep in touch with you and maybe in a little bit more personal way. We don't want to be tracked electronically, but we want to send you, gifts, money. Tim, maybe they want to send us money. Probably not. No, but if you really do want to send us letters and cards, we do have an address for you. P.O. Box 22321. P.O. Box 22321, Eagan, Minnesota, Eagan, Minnesota, 55122. You just write to Darkness Radio. Attention Tim, attention Dave. We won't open each other's mail, so if you're sending something weird, the other guy doesn't have to know about it. We'll probably share it with one another later, but just giving you a heads up. But anyway, P.O. Box at Darkness Radio, P.O. Box 22321, Eagan, Minnesota, 55122. Yeah, some people have been telling me they just don't want to send emails. They're not comfortable with that. They want to share their story, but they want to do it in a handwritten form or whatever. Or they've wanted to send you a get well card or a birthday card or whatever, Tim. Mm-hmm. And they don't know how to do that. And since you refuse to let me give out your home address or your home phone number because you're kind of a prude that way, I just figured we'd, make it easy for people to reach us. And we do check that mailbox on a weekly basis. So you could send whatever you'd like to send to us. We will let you know. And P.O. Box 22321, Eagan, Minnesota, 55122 is the best way to reach out to us. All right, Tim, where are we going next in the world of supernatural news?
Talking a bit of conspiracy theory when it comes to MH370. That's a downed Malaysian airliner, that airline jet from a couple of years ago. There's an untold story. It's a documentary that reveals a mystery woman who could unlock the secrets of that doomed jet crash. An explosive new documentary claims to have tracked down a mystery woman who could unlock the secrets of that missing flight. As part of the new investigative series into the doomed Malaysian Airlines jet, authorities claim to have identified a lady who sent a message to a man on board just 2 days before the plane vanished. In a preview for Sky News' Australia's MH370, The Untold Story, an expert says they also tracked down the mystery woman 2 days before the flight, and she sent him a message. In 2014, authorities first investigated a mystery woman who made a 2-minute phone call to the captain of MH370, Zahari Ahmad Shah, shortly before the plane's takeoff, using a pay-as-you-go SIM card that was obtained under a false identity. It was one of the last calls made to or from the captain's mobile in the hours before his Boeing 777 left Kuala Lumpur. In Malaysia, anyone purchasing a pay-as-you-go SIM must fill out a form giving their identity card or passport number under anti-terror measures brought in after the September 11 Twin Tower attacks. The mobile number was traced to a shop in Kuala Lumpur, and efforts were made to track down the woman who made the call. Authorities feared the phone call was a possible link between Captain Zahari and terror groups whose members routinely use untraceable SIM cards. It's not yet clear if the two women are the same person or at all linked. Almost 6 years after the MH370 aircraft went missing, the new investigative documentary promises to deliver new compelling evidence, including what the authorities in Australia and Malaysia really knew about the disappearance, and exactly what experts are believing that the plane's wreckage can be found, or where the experts believe the plane's wreckage can be found. Sky News Australia journalist Peter Stefanovic says Malaysian authorities knew what happened to the plane within a week of it going missing, but covered it up. Stefanovic said, I will reveal the Malaysian government knew what happened to the plane within a week of it going missing, but continued to look in the wrong areas. I will also reveal private conversations held between very senior members of the Australian and Malaysian governments. In the documentary preview, Stefanovic puts the accusations directly to former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott. Malaysian Airlines Boeing 777 aircraft was carrying 239 passengers and crew when it vanished in the early hours of March 8th, 2014, while on a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The world was left baffled. How could a modern aircraft simply vanish? Almost 6 years on, words is hard again today. MH370 has become the greatest aviation mystery of all time, with the search for the missing jet becoming the most costly in aviation history. Despite hundreds of millions of dollars being spent by Malaysia, Australia, and China and their authorities, the plane has never been found, sparking anger in the missing passengers' desperate families. Until now, the most likely scenario explaining the aircraft's disappearance involves someone in the cockpit of Flight 370, probably Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, reprogramming the aircraft's autopilot to travel south across the Indian Ocean in an act of murder-suicide. It's hoped that Sky News' MH370, The Untold Story, will spark a reopening of the search for the missing aircraft and the passengers on board to finally answer what really happened to Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370.
Do you think, Tim, we're ever going to find an answer to that yet?
I think so, and I think it's more realistic than people think, and I think they're actually onto something with the SIM card. I think, honestly, there had to, and I do think it's somewhat of a failed act of terrorism. I don't think it's anything. How should I put this? I'm not trying to put it in a delicate way. I'm trying to put it in a realistic way. When they say they found something having to do with a SIM card and someone signing off on a SIM card, I think the captain was, for lack of a better word, he was got to. So he had aligned himself with some terrorist organization, and he was on his way to fly that plane to do a hit much like 9/11. But something went wrong. I don't know what it was that went wrong with it, but that airliner disappeared. One of the governments, either Malaysia or one of the governments, found out exactly what happened and essentially called off the search and chose not to tell the families about it as to why that airliner went down, because there was something very nefarious going on. They were aiming that plane at a sovereign government. How should I put this? A sovereign government that didn't have a democratic government in tow. So either China, or it was aimed at a government that had a despotic rule. So it would have been like China's version of 9/11.
Huh.
And it would have started World War III.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I think that's why they were keeping it quiet.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, before we go to break, I do have an email. Dear Dave and Tim, I've been listening to y'all since about your second year. That's how it says, Tim. Y'all. Just so you know, folks, when I read words like that, I'm not making them up. I'm not making things cutesy. I'm reading things as they appear. I don't throw in special little rejoinders unless I tell you that I'm joking about that or saying that. Otherwise, I read it in its purest elemental form. Dear Dave and Tim, I've been listening to y'all since about your second year, and I spent a good deal of that year listening to your prior year's worth of archives. I do have to say that I do miss the mariachi music, he says. I had a jet black American Tomcat when we got married. He was a strange yet loyal creature and my best friend for years. He was exceptionally high-strung, but he followed me around just like a dog would. He had a certain flair and a unique gait, never bending his back legs when he walked. If I had to describe his personality in 3 words, they'd be Charles Nelson Riley. I love Charles Nelson Riley. Dude, that's the only reason to watch Match Game.
It is, yeah.
I love Charles Nelson Riley and Brett, what was her name? Brett?
Summers.
Summers.
Yeah.
Those two together. Yep. Unbelievable. Sadly, he developed intestinal cancer. Oh, by the way, that was all me ranting about Charles Nelson Riley, Tim.
Yeah.
Not part of the original email.
Okay.
Just want to point that out. Sadly, he developed intestinal cancer. It was a tough blow. He'd been with me for 12 years through thick and thin and always happy to see me. He was my best pal, and my wife also grew very attached to him during our courtship and subsequent marriage. My wife, a wound care nurse at the time, tearfully begged the veterinarian to put a little kitty colostomy bag on him, but I overruled her and said he had suffered enough. As I held him in my arms and the vet administered him the initial injection, he looked up into my eyes as if saying, "Thank you." That was an emotional afternoon and evening, to say the least. The next night, my wife and I went to bed as usual. We were both sitting up reading when I felt a cat jump on the bed. Our other cat, a Maine Coon, couldn't jump anymore and had to be lifted onto the bed. So I took notice. I watched cat-sized footfalls across the comforter stepping over my wife's legs. I then felt the footsteps pass over my right leg, make these 3 circles as animals do before laying down, and then the weight of my old tomcat curl up between my legs, as he did every night at bedtime. I waited 5 minutes before I said anything, and then I asked my wife if she had just noticed anything. She said that she'd been waiting for me to ask because she too had been startled by the sensation of a cat jumping on the bed and felt and watched the footsteps appear on the comforter. While that was the first and last time my tomcat reenacted his evening ritual of jumping on my wife's side of the bed, crossing it and curling up between my legs, we still see him from time to time. Sometimes it's just a glimpse of black with a signature prance. Sometimes, like last Saturday evening, I'll see him looking up at me in that dog-like, admiring way of his as I'm doing something, only to turn back, and he's gone. I have a few other stories about him, but they'll have to wait for another time. These son of a bitches and their teasing ways, Tim. Now, for the question, which is somewhat unrelated to the story, my wife has always had heightened sensitivities. She spent a good portion of the last 20 years trying to ignore them, but now she's finally starting to accept her abilities for what they are. She and a close friend of ours are having mutual physical experiences, and tonight they got dark. I understand your argument that you don't have to ask if you've got a demonic problem, but I would counter that with the argument that demons don't possess people by being openly evil, harrowing, and destructive either. With any possession or infestation, there's been a lot of sweet words and wooing by the demonic in the lead-up. And as I care about both of these women deeply, I don't want it to go that far either. This afternoon, it appeared to me as an outside observer that both of them briefly lost control of themselves during their trance mediumship. I have supported my wife for years in her exploration of her abilities, and I have been encouraging our friend as well. Do you know of any psychic in Virginia or the Mid-Atlantic region who would be willing to teach them the proper way to handle these episodes and keep control of themselves during such experiences? Thank you in advance for your consideration of this off-the-wall question. Look up Reverend Tim Shaw. I don't know. Where does Tim live? Tim?
That's a good
Dennis?
question.
He's out on that East Coast area.
Yeah, he's out on the East Coast.
But he might be able to help. Otherwise, we always recommend Echo Bodine. ECHOBODINE. She has a few books. The Gift, A Still Small Voice. We have those in our shop. And I'm not just using this to tout our shop, but go to Darkness Radio, click on the store. When you get into that next page, click on our Amazon page, go into our paranormal books, and you'll find books by Echo Bodine. Those are the books I always suggest. Every time I suggest them and somebody picks them up, I get emails back saying, thank you. This book has put me on the right path. I'm serious about that. Echo knows her stuff. We love Echo. Her books are great for this. I can't always speak for individuals out in your area. I may know somebody, but I don't know their abilities. I don't know that much about them. But Tim Shaw is a good place to start. He is a sensitive. He's a reverend and a great guy. And he might be a good place to start. Or Reverend Bill Bean. Both of them may be the great way for you to begin. Let me see where this goes. Thank you in advance for your consideration of this off-the-wall question. My bride and I really enjoyed the Holzer Files, and we hope to get a second season, Dave. And Tim, you keep beating that Skynet drum. Our great Pyrenees doesn't quite know what to make of the Roomba, so he vigilantly follows it around the house. But the cats, on the other hand, are sure it is the devil's device. Yours, a fascinated listener. He asked me not to give his name on air, so I won't.
Trust the cats. That's all I got to say. Yeah.
You know, here's the deal. I want to say this before we go to break. The cats, right? I hear more about cats and dogs stopping and looking at things that we can't see. And then think about how many people see their animals after they die, and they are taking these stances. Could it be that in those instances, the flicker in time is happening, and they're seeing future you standing there looking at them? Maybe your dogs and cats are reacting to a time slip, and that's why they're stopping and looking and don't seem necessarily afraid all the time, because they're legitimately confused. You're right behind me, but now I can see you in front of me. Or I know you're upstairs, but here you are looking at me, and then they fade out. I'm just saying, something to consider, Tim.
No, yeah. I know the Egyptians...
I said it's something to consider, Tim.
The Egyptians revered cats very much.
Yeah, they did.
So,
all right, let's take a break, and we'll be back. We've got more news and more stories to share right here on Beyond the Darkness.
Expeditiously with Tip T.I. Harris is starting off the new year with 2 amazing episodes that you won't want to miss. First, he's talking with Taraji P. Henson, star of Empire, about her career in film and television. Then Tip sits down with Mike Tyson for a no-holds-barred interview that is both hilarious and informative. Be sure to subscribe on Podcast One, Apple Podcasts, and many other podcast apps so you can get new episodes every week.
Beyond the Darkness.
We're back. This is the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. How do you like us now, kids? How do you like us now? 14 years into the best in paranormal talk radio. We have a phone number you can call. 651-300-4977. 651-300-4977. You can call and leave your strange supernatural encounters, whether, as I said, Randy leprechauns, poltergeist activity, ghosts, angels, demons. If you've got a weird story to share, call in and tell your story to us. We'll knit it together and play it on the air. We'd love to hear from you.
You know, you just gave me an idea.
What's that, Tim?
I think on the Jericho cruise, I'm going to do a run-in during that live episode of Dynamite on TNT. And I'm going to dress like a leprechaun, and I'm going to call myself Randy Leprechaun.
I like it.
Yeah.
And then you'll dry hump Jericho's leg, but
yes.
This time you're doing it in a costume as opposed to the way you usually do it.
I'll have a little bit of the bubbly in one hand and a shillelagh in the other, and I'll dry hump Jericho's leg as he's cutting a promo, and then I'll run off.
I think that's going to go poorly for you if I'm a betting man.
I'll probably get a spike in the eye.
Yeah. What have we got in the way of news stories to share?
Haunted dolls. Who doesn't love a haunted doll, huh? You just want to cuddle it, you want to hug it, you want to squeeze it, and watch it tear you limb from limb. I don't know where that's going. A haunted Elsa doll won't let go of its family, Dave. It keeps returning after being thrown out. It just loves you and loves you and loves you and doesn't want to leave.
Which is weird because you're just trying to let it go, let it go. I don't want the stupid doll anymore. Let it go, let it go. That's my Broadway version of it, Tim.
I heard the most bizarre theory, paranormal theory about Frozen in the world.
Oh, do tell.
I know you don't listen to much Howard Stern, and it's not right of us to promote another show on our show, but there's a guy by the name of High Pitch Sean who's a paranormal guy. He's a complete conspiracy theorist. And he said the reason why, and Howard has him on for a joke, he just makes fun of him and whatnot, but he stutters. He's a big stutterer, and that's why Howard has him on, basically to make fun of him. But his theory, or the theory he spouted out last week about why Disney made Frozen, actually almost makes you laugh, but also makes you wonder. And Howard actually knows Bob Iger over at Disney is going to double check about it. But he says the whole reason why Disney made Frozen was to throw the internet off course in Google searches. Because when you would put in Disney and Frozen into the internet.
Oh, yeah, I've heard this. You would hear about Walt Disney being frozen.
About Walt Disney's frozen head. So the whole reason they made the term or the movie Frozen was so that it would throw off the searches for Disney's frozen head.
Oh, interesting.
Which I think is the most ridiculous conspiracy theory ever, but I don't know. I digress. Let's get to our story, shall we?
Sure.
So there's this haunted Elsa doll that won't let go, get it, of its family. And it keeps returning after being thrown out. The frozen doll speaks in 2 languages, appropriate, and hasn't had its battery changed in 6 years, yikes, and operates while switched off, even scarier. What's even worse, Dave, it's in Texas. So you can shoot the thing legally and it still comes back.
Yikes.
A family in Texas can't seem to let go of a haunted Elsa doll from the movie Frozen. The toy was given as a Christmas present to Emily Madiona's daughter in 2013 and has terrified the family since with its ability to speak both English and Spanish. It operates when turned off and even finds its way back home when thrown out. This according to a report by clicktohouston.com. For 2 years, it did that in English. Emily told the publication, referring to the doll singing Let It Go after a button on the necklace was pushed. In 2015, it started doing it alternating between Spanish and English, which would scare the heck out of me. There wasn't a button that changed these. It was just random, she said. It just went back and forth and back and forth. Adding to the creepy element was the fact that the family had not changed the battery since they owned it, and it would randomly begin to speak and sing, even when it was switched off. This according to the outlet. Understandably, the family was unnerved enough to toss the Disney princess in the garbage, only to have it return weeks later inside their home.
Dun, dun, dun!
The kids insisted that they didn't put it in there, in the house, and I believe them because they wouldn't have dug through the garbage outside, according to Emily. Now only speaking in Spanish, because she ain't got time for English, Elsa was discarded a second time with heavy precaution, as detailed in the Facebook post by Emily, alongside a photograph of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed doll perched outside their home. Okay, guys, seriously, we need help, Emily wrote. To recap, for those of you who have not been following our Elsa doll saga, Matt threw it away weeks ago, and then we found it inside a wooden bench. Okay, so we were weirded out, and then they tightly wrapped it in its own garbage bag and put that garbage bag inside another garbage bag filled with other garbage and put it in the bottom of our garbage can underneath a bunch of other garbage and wheeled it to the curb, and it was collected on garbage day. Great, right? We went out of town, forgot about it, and today Ariella says, Mom, I saw the Elsa doll again in the backyard. Help us get rid of this haunted doll, she posted. That's creepy. Emily said she knew it was the same doll because of the markings on it from her daughter. Most logical...
Got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Kind of a Marilyn Manson version of You Got a Friend in Me is playing every time she just reappears.
Yeah. Most logical thinkers believe it's a prank, but I don't understand how or when it was done, especially because the garbage truck had taken it away, she added. As a last resort, the family mailed it to a friend without a return address. On Tuesday, Emily took to social media to let followers know the doll reached its destination. My friend Chris Hogan received the doll today, 1,500 miles away from here. He asked for it. Don't be mean. He's at work now, but I asked him to check it for the marker that my daughter colored on it when he gets home, so we can make sure it's the same one. Yes, I'm unreasonably paranoid now, she admitted. Both times the doll reappeared 2 weeks later, or I should say we found her 2 weeks later, but it's hard to tell how long she was there, so I'm curious how it will go from here. That's all I got for now. Emily told ClickToHouston.com her plans if Elsa makes a third unwanted appearance. If the doll comes back, I might have to open my mind to some of the more supernatural solutions, she added. 2Fab reached out to the family for comment, and they will post if there is any more Elsa movements. Talk about bizarre, Dave. Holy smokes.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Me no likey, Tim.
I don't know. Have you had a haunted doll in your house that's appeared and reappeared after you've gotten rid of it? I know you have some stored in the
No, because
garage.
I never really get rid of it unless I've sold it for charity, and thankfully they all have the dolls. They still report back to me creepy stuff and happenings, but I don't have them.
I don't know. Especially Disney dolls. Disney dolls are creepy. I don't care who you are. They just are.
Wow.
They're creepy.
Disney, you can send your hate mail right to Tim at darknessradio.com. Or you can follow him at Dr. Tim Dennis on Twitter.
They're probably just going to send me haunted dolls, I'm sure.
Hello and happy 2020, Dave and Tim.
Thank you.
Happy 2020 to you, too. I've been listening now for 2 years, and I've had numerous times I thought about sharing an experience, but a recent one has taken the cake, so to speak. My family has always been sensitive to the paranormal for as long as I can remember, and stories from before I was even an idea in my parents' mind. My family moved in with my mother at the beginning of December after my stepdad passed away in order to help look after her and help her with various things. Prior to his passing, even when I would visit going back all the way to early 2016, there would be events happening that were not easily explained. I'd always dismiss them as a spirit just passing through from the neighbors across the street. I always joke we have the best neighbors across the street. They don't have loud music at night. They don't have any annoying floodlights, just peaceful, calm, and quiet. Dave? Tim? My neighbor across the street is a cemetery. It's beautiful. And at night, normally, you can see the solar lights loved ones placed. That is, except for the other night. On January 2nd, I was in the living room with my girlfriend, and my mom texted me stating she wasn't crazy, but someone was hanging out in her mirror and going from one side to the other. We quickly rushed into her room and witnessed the shadow in the mirror. We moved all over the room trying to debunk it, but couldn't replicate it whatsoever. Moments after we gave up, our dogs downstairs began to go crazy. Crazy as if someone had intruded downstairs and they were going to protect everyone. We went to check to ensure no one entered into the basement living area and encountered the entire stairway being shadow-filled and very uncomfortable. We encountered more shadows and feelings of unease in more places after that. For example, my daughter's room, the public bathroom, and finally on our front porch. When we stepped out to cool off and try to get fresh air from everything surrounding us, we noticed the cemetery was dark. No solar lights. Nothing. That was not common. So I came in and distracted myself in the kitchen to just allow everything to get its energy out and settle down. They must have not liked that because while trying to break out salt up that had clumped up, while trying to break up some salt that had clumped up, I had a ceramic spoon break in two pieces, slicing my finger to where I had to get 4 stitches. Oddest thing, though, Dave and Tim, is that the spoon edges were full at the point of the break. Even ran other fingers across the edges and not a single scratch. I'm still clueless how I was cut and why everything was so active and angry. So far, everything is okay and no more stitches needed, thankfully. Thank you both so much for the show. I love seeing the notifications of uploads. They always make my day. Thanks from a listener, Reba. P.S. If you two could tell my husband, who is a fellow listener, hello on the air, that would be amazing. His name is William Hall. He's constantly amazing me with his dedication and drive for our family. He gives his everything and is the only man I know who has ever been hit and drugged by a car at work and still finished his shift.
Whoa.
Talk about a keeper. He is truly a gem in the rough. No, Reba, we're not going to do it. Thanks for asking, though.
Yeah.
What do we look like? Dancing monkeys? Really? Stick a quarter in us, and we're going to say great things about William Hall, your husband.
Jeez. I've been hit by a car. I've been hit by a car before and came to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it at Chicago Ghost Conference.
You don't have to throw pennies to us, but a check for $200 to $300, and we'd mention William Hall on the air. Otherwise, you'll never hear us say the name William Hall on the show or how great and amazing William Hall is.
I mean, that guy, William Hall, may be the best guy in the world, William Hall, but, and he may be walking on water, William Hall, but, and he may be the best.
But you ain't going to hear his name on our show.
William Hall. I mean, he may walk on water, William Hall, and he may be close to godhood, William Hall, but, he may be the loveliest, sweetest, nicest guy in the world, William Hall, but why should we mention him here, William Hall?
Not going to happen, William Hall. So take your wife and back off, man. Back off, William Hall, from being such an amazing guy, such a good fella, great husband and provider, an amazing man who continues his day's work even after being struck and drugged by a car, acting all heroic and junk. I guess that's cool if you like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we do. We do, William.
We do.
Thanks for being a great guy and for being a good husband to Reba.
Yeah.
Or Reba. Or Reba. I'm not sure how to say him anymore, Tim. R-E-B-A. You'd think it'd be Reba.
It is Reba.
It's a new generation, Tim. It could be Floofy. We don't know. People spell things weird nowadays.
It's not that new, Dave. It's Reba. Yeah.
You know what else isn't new, Tim?
What's that?
The playoffs and the fact that the Minnesota Vikings are not a part of them.
Oh, that's not a shock, Dave.
It's
That's how life works.
I just don't know what to say anymore, Tim. So far, I would like to point out to you, Tim, that my prediction for this year is already. I said one of my 10 predictions for 2020 is that the Vikings would only disappoint me somewhat less. We got one step further in the playoffs.
We did.
So I was right. Boom. First prediction correct, Tim.
Yeah.
And here we are, Tim. The NFL playoffs, conference championship. All right. This is crazy. This is the time of year I live for because I love watching the best teams get eliminated and crappy teams go on. Maybe I'm bitter. I might be bitter. Check betonline.ag, folks. If you have not already begun playing, you should. Because you can bet on NFL, you can bet on NHL, you can bet on the NBA, college football, golf. You want to bet? They've got a way to help you, Tim. So be a part of it, and remember that we've got this. This is going to be kind of cool, right? If we win, Tim, in either this week or the Super Bowl week, right?
Right.
Here's the exciting news. We'll have $500 to give away to our listeners that are also playing along on betonline.ag. So you want to go to betonline.ag, sign up. You're going to get a great deal by signing up as well. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, Tim. If you go and use the promo code podcast1, PODCASTONE, all one word, podcast1, you're going to get it. So go to betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. Play along with the likes of Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis from Beyond the Darkness. All right, Tim, this is the big picks before we go into the Super Bowl. Let's do this quickly. We have 2 games left to examine, Tim. We have the San Francisco 49ers, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
And they are squaring off against who this week?
San Francisco is taking on the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, I couldn't say the words, Tim. It burns my tongue.
It burns mine
to
too.
say it.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Where do you see this one going, Tim?
Honestly, Dave, I wanted the Seattle Seahawks in this spot so badly. They didn't have enough at the end there. Here's the deal. The Packers are not a bad team. They just are not Super Bowl caliber as much as my friends in Wisconsin would like to think they are. They're missing a little thing called a front defensive front line, and they don't have much of a pass rush. And in order to disrupt Jimmy G, you got to have something to disrupt him and his timing. And the San Francisco 49ers are as much of a complete team as you're going to get in the NFC this year. And they got back some key players in time to destroy the Minnesota Vikings in D Ford. And I forget the other defensive player that came back for them. They're as much of a complete team as you're going to get this year, my friend. They run the ball, they throw the ball, they absolutely take you apart with their pass defense and their run defense. I think honestly, San Francisco is going for the NFC. They are going to the Super Bowl. I think San Francisco. It's going to be a close game. Now, keep in mind, earlier in the season, San Francisco dismantled Green Bay. They totally took them apart when Green Bay was a team that was not a consistent team. They either had good weeks or bad weeks. That is not going to be the case in this game. This game is going to be much closer because Green Bay's really found their stride. But I still think San Francisco wins by a touchdown. It's going to be a closer game. I'd say it's probably going to be a higher scoring game too. So maybe like 35-28.
Oh, fascinating. All right, so that's your call, 35-28. I, on the other hand, am taking the Green Bay Packers.
Are you?
I believe that they are the upset this year. This is going to be a weird year, and I think the Green Bay Packers are going to make their final Aaron Rodgers run at a Super Bowl. That's my guess.
Interesting.
That's my guess. All right, so that's the NFC. Tim is going. He's going all out San Francisco by a touchdown against Green Bay. I'm saying Green Bay is going to win. I don't know if it's by a field goal, a touchdown, a safety, or the earth opening and swallowing the 49ers. I believe the Packers will win this game. All right, Tim. Now we're squaring off against the AFC Championship. We have the Titan Killers. Should be their name.
They should be.
The Titans are squaring off against Patrick Mahomes and his Kansas City Chiefs, Tim.
This game's tough to call.
Right.
I'll tell you why. You're talking about a team that came out of nowhere in the Titans, and they have their defense is good. They're relatively good, but their offense is how they keep you off the field. And the fact that Derrick Henry can run all over you, and they keep the ball out of your hands. Nobody saw Ryan Tannehill becoming a complete quarterback. It's such a tough game to call because you saw the performance by Patrick Mahomes for Kansas City last week.
Yeah.
When they were essentially dead and gone in that game.
What were they, 24-0?
It was one of the biggest comebacks in NFL playoff history.
Folks, 24-0, right? In first quarter, the team was up against Kansas City, 21-0, 21 unanswered points. That's what they were doing. I can't even tell you who they played because all you can think of is Kansas City at this point.
It was
the Baltimore Ravens.
Baltimore Ravens.
Who I picked, I thought was going to go to the Super Bowl and win this year.
I thought they were too.
But
it was the fastest, and keep this in mind, Dave, the Kansas City Chiefs pulled off the fastest comeback in NFL history. They scored those points in 1 minute and 53 seconds. Think about that.
Unbelievable.
That's how fast Kansas City can kill you.
Any given Sunday, buddy.
And that's the thing. Kansas City is never out of a ball game. So you put up a team like the Titans who do have problems scoring. Let's face it. They haven't won these games by 35, 40 points. They're not putting up a lot of points. So they need to keep Kansas City to a low score. Nobody keeps Kansas City to a low score. Kansas City put up 51 points last week. Like it was nothing.
That's why my heart's telling me Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, but these Titans are something, and Tannehill's unbelievable. I don't know. To me, this is a you pick 'em challenge. I could flip a coin, and I think I'd have as good a chance as picking it myself. I'm going to take Kansas City and Green Bay. Where do you see this going down?
I honestly think Kansas City wins this game. It's at home. That's what gives them an advantage. And they also have an advantage because they are never, with Patrick Mahomes, with Tyreek Hill, and with that offense, they are never out of a game. Their offense is their defense. They're always within reach of killing you. And I think San Francisco and Kansas City is your Super Bowl this year.
All right. San Francisco, Kansas City. That's the Super Bowl. I see Green Bay and Kansas City, although the Titans have me nervous. I think if anybody's going to do it, the Titan Killers might be the ones to take Kansas City out. But so the official pick from Tim, who's been with you doing this whole season, Niners and Kansas City. That's it. We both agree on Kansas City. I think Green Bay is going to find a way to win. All right. So that's what's going on. Again, go visit betonline.ag. Don't forget the promo code podcast1 for your 50% sign-up bonus. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Where are we off to next in the world of supernatural news, Tim?
We're headed to Melrose, where ghost hunters are called into a Melrose hotel by spooked owners. Paranormal investigators are heading for that place. And they are inviting ghost hunters to join them for a night in one of the region's most spookiest hotels. For decades, staff and guests at the George in Abbotsford have reported eerie goings-on and had hoped that the professionals from UK and Scottish ghost nights will be able to get to the bottom of a few of the bumps in the night that are going on there. Lisa Tedstill from UK and Scottish ghost nights told the Border Telegraph that we were invited to investigate the location by the new owners who reported many strange goings-on. Staff have reported poltergeist activity, lights switching on by themselves, and the poor chef even had her hair pulled so hard that she fell backwards. We are quite surprised they have not all run away yet, and we are very excited to spend the night there. The historic George and Abbotsford dates are back to the historic George and Abbotsford dates back to the early 1800s, with extensions added towards the latter part of the 19th century. Members of the ghost hunting team have already carried out a site visit, and they are convinced that there are more spirits to be found than just those in the bottles. Lisa added, on a site visit during the day when the hotel was empty, we experienced a door handle rattling on its own, knocking on doors, and a very disturbing growling sound coming from within the main bedroom corridors. We half expected a little boy on a trike to start trundling down the corridor. The George and Abbotsford Hotel is a rabbit warren of a location, and it is the quintessential haunted hotel with years of history and ghost stories to tell. Is the quote there. Tickets to take part in the ghost hunt on Saturday, March 14th from 9 p.m. to 2 p.m. cost £39 and are available from ukghostnights.co.uk. For the really brave, there is also an opportunity to book an overnight room. So there you go.
I like it. I like it a lot. Where are we off to next, sir?
Let's see here. We'll get there in a second. Everything is frozen up there. We go to. Actually, we're gonna talk a little bit about Derek Acorah. You know, Derek Acorah had passed it away. God, English and words is hard today, Dave.
He sure did it.
Derek Acorah passed away within the last week and a half, and we had talked about who was going to be the first one to make contact with him, and we had surmised that it might be a not-so-famous paranormal investigator who claims to get a hold of somebody within 24 hours by EVP.
Yeah, he's all huff and no substance, though.
Exactly, yeah, I didn't want to say the name, but it turns out that his grieving widow claims to be in touch with her late husband. The widow of the Most Haunted Star tells of her husband's final moments in a touching interview. The widow of celebrity medium Derek Acorah has spoken for the first time about her loss. The Boodle E-born Most Haunted Star died on January 4th from sepsis after a severe bout of pneumonia. He was 69. The self-styled medium, whose real name is Derek Johnson, appeared on Celebrity Big Brother in 2017 and launched the paranormal reality TV series Most Haunted in 2001. Now Gwen, Derek's heartbroken widow, who is 71, spoke about her loss and has claimed to still be in touch with her late husband. Speaking to the Sunday People, she said, Derek believed life goes on in another dimension. There's an element of comfort in that because it's not a big blank wall and he's gone. I keep thinking I must pick up the phone and tell Derek. I actually do tell him I talk to him. People may think it's that I'm mad. I've nagged him all his life, so why shouldn't I continue? And Gwen also revealed how the couple both caught flu after Christmas, but she thought her husband would recover from his illness. She said Derek had never given any indication he thought the time was nigh. He was fine. I'm still in shock and in a state of disbelief. His heart rate was high. He was put into an induced coma on Thursday. His kidneys had failed. His liver and heart were doing badly. He had double pneumonia, and sepsis had set in. He started to stabilize on the Friday, and he passed away early on Saturday. Derek rose to fame in the 1990s when he did psychic readings live on ITV. The spiritual medium was best known for television work on Most Haunted alongside Yvette Fielding. He left in 2005. While Derek built his career on communicating with loved ones for grieving families, Gwen insisted, I won't try to contact Derek through a medium. I have faith he's okay, and my life with Derek was enough. I'll remember him with every breath I breathe. Tributes have poured in from around the world, and Gwen says that shows what a huge impact he left. She went on that Derek would do celebrity readings, but he would never speak about them. He was halfway through his autobiography, and I might finish it. Derek's career was dogged by claims of fakery and fallouts with fellow psychics. Gwen said, I'm very tempted to write something that covers the not-so-good side of the medium world. It's not all been love, light, and unicorn farts, she went on to say. Gwen says she's hounded by jealous psychics, saying that he misled fans. So she says she's been in contact with him just by psychic communication, basically to wrap up that article, and that she may continue his autobiography there. What do you think, Dave? Should she continue his book?
I think so. Why not? I mean, it's get his story out there, give a voice, and this is his last hurrah, his last voice to share this with her, to be the perfect culmination of the two of them working together on one final project. So I'm all for it. Let me say this: I ain't again it.
You ain't again it. There you go. All right.
Yeah. So that's what I have to say about that. Cool stuff. I'm glad that he's making himself known to her, and that we're hearing from her first, and it isn't somebody huffing and puffing and telling us their stories, Tim.
Most definitely.
Yeah. All right. Where are we off to next?
We move to Devon, where the mysterious Devon UFO police chase that led to an MOD investigation is being highlighted. We've gently been asked to sweep it under the carpet. It didn't happen. That's what they said, but we know what we saw. That's the direct quote from an officer on the scene. The quiet rolling countryside between Hatherleigh and Holsworthy in West Devon may look as different to Area 51 in the baking Nevada desert as you may imagine, but in that spot in 1967 there was a UFO sighting which baffled experts for years. It was October 24th, and PCs Roger Wiley and Clifford Waycott were patrolling the A3072 between the two remote Devon towns. In the chilly hours of early morning, the two officers spotted what later would become known as the Devon Cross, a brightly illuminated star-spangled cross capable of incredible speed and agility, hovering just above the tree line. They claimed it was around the size of a commercial aircraft. The officers, who were just outside Hatherleigh at the time, tried to approach the object, making it as close as 400 meters before it started moving again. They said it gave the impression of watching them. After reporting it to Okehampton Police Station, they set off in pursuit, hitting speeds of up to 90 miles an hour as they tried to keep up. But it was to no avail. It was simply too quick for them, as they spent most of an hour pursuing the bizarre object. The officers even woke a man sleeping in his car in a lay-by, a 29-year-old holiday maker from Luton by the name of Christopher Garner. He confirmed what the officers had seen. Extra police units were dispatched to the scene, but nothing was found. It was definitely there and definitely either manned by some sort of being or remote controlled. It was definitely being controlled to view our cars, said PC Willie in a black and white news footage from the time. There was no question whatsoever it was a figment of our imagination. If it was a figment of our imagination, he went on to say, on various points of its journey, it was attaining high altitude and it was down to treetop level on other times. There was no sound that I heard at all. There was no outside sound apart from the car itself. Constable Wiley just said, here we go again, or here we go then, and drove off, and we drove off after it, continued PC Waycott. It was just in front of us. We were traveling very fast. The acceleration of it was terrific, so we never got under it to hear any sound. The episode baffled police, and the RAF, or Royal Air Force, denied it was anything to do with them. They insisted no craft capable of hovering on the spot, and supersonic speeds had been invented. And not long afterwards, officials from the Ministry of Defense were sent in as investigation began. Results from which were classified until 2005. The officers were questioned, while also being reminded that they were bound by the Official Secrets Act. This was not the first UFO sighting in Devon around that time. In April of 1967, a dome-shaped object was sighted over Brixham at around 1,600 feet at noon for approximately 1 hour. There was also a brief UFO sighting at Okehampton in October 5th, just 3 weeks before the police officer's own experience. 4 witnesses from a company called Sterling Hatcheries reported to Okehampton police that they had seen through binoculars a bright white semi-spherical object like an inverted parachute for 2 hours from 8:50 a.m. It apparently lay in the direction of Okehampton Camp to the south of town, and over the 2-hour period of observation, it moved horizontally at an altitude of about 50 degrees. In fact, October 1967 became a prolific month for UFO sightings. 3 days after the Hatherleigh sighting, there was an incident involving a UFO in Cheshire, coincidentally also spotted by police officers. Again, it was described as a bright cross-shaped and traveling at about 1,000 feet, this time traveling in a northeasterly direction. About 15 minutes later, another PC at Mottram in Longdale reportedly seeing something similar, although this was probably the same object that the officers in Cheshire could see. To some, the spate of UFO sighting are confirmation that we are not alone, while others speculate that they could have been down to some Cold War spy plane developed either by Russia or the West. Time has certainly done nothing to lessen the doubt experienced by the 2 officers near Holsworthy. In an interview in 2004, Wiley said, "It was something I hadn't seen before. I haven't seen it since, and something that nobody can explain exactly what it was. No explanation has been given to us by anybody, and we haven't asked," said Wycott. "We've just gently been asked to sweep it under the carpet. It didn't happen, that's what they said, but we know what we saw." The Ministry of Defense had come up with an explanation, but it was one that they did not reveal until 38 years after the incident. They blamed the planet Venus, something which is frequently thought to be the root of UFO sightings, especially as it can appear to be both close and exceptionally bright around dawn. "The most likely explanation is still Venus," it read. "Venus was known to be visible on the eastern horizon at about that time of day and would have been sufficiently bright enough to have cast a shadow. At its brightest, Venus is only outshone by the moon at night. It frequently vanishes from the night sky, with successive appearances happening 19 months apart. Also, Venus never ventures more than 47 degrees away from the sun, so it tends to hug the horizon closely, where many people report seeing UFOs, including the Okehampton sighting. The officers claim that they had been looking to the northeast when they first saw it, and that it frequently changed position. The report put this down to the winding nature of the road and the speed at which the officers were driving. It also accused the officers of drawing their own conclusions about seeing a spaceship because they had given their version of events so many times already to superiors in the press before they had spoken to an MOD investigator. However, the report suggested no public statement was made questioning the officers' honesty or integrity, instead preferring to let it be known off the record that Venus remains the most likely explanation and that there are some grounds for believing that the policeman's account of what they saw was not 100% accurate. UFO and alien reports continue to this day. Over 2015, 2016, and 2017, there were 10 reported sightings to Devon and Cornwall police, according to Freedom of Information requests, 2 in Exeter, 2 in Plymouth, 2 in Redruth, and 1 in Honiton, Dawlish, Truro, and Falmouth. The nature and probably the veracity of those reports vary, and one caller claiming an alien was stood in the corner of their room, another saying it was only taking part in part of his medication and now seeing aliens, while a third stated she saw a UFO being chased by a stealth jet up the M5. Unsurprisingly, police view a large number of these claims with skepticism. In fact, they concluded that 8 of the 10 reports involved individuals with mental health issues and are therefore not indicative of extraterrestrial sightings. The other 2 incidents in Falmouth and Plymouth in 2016 both involved individuals who were recorded as sounding heavily intoxicated. Neither of those accusations have been leveled at PCs Wiley and Waycott, who have also stood firm over what they claim to have seen. You had the feeling it was watching you, asks the television interviewer shortly after the incident. Yes, replied Waycott, while Wiley responds with an emphatic definitely. So there you go.
It's an interesting story I've heard before. I don't know. You know, when you're like, oh, we're just going to discard what the police say on a story like this, I think that should have a little bit more weight.
You would think it would have weight, but at the same time, you know, when you have when you're firmly planning at Venus and saying, well, it's got to be the planet Venus over and over again, and you're kind of winking and nodding at the fact that you think the policemen aren't telling the truth, you're not giving them much credibility from the get-go, you know.
That is true. That is true. All right, let's dive deep. How many more stories do we have left, sir?
Just a few more left. Okay. We're going to meet the Xenobot, the first living self-healing robots created from frog stem cells.
Doom, 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 doom.
Oh, God.
Doom, 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 doom.
I'm going to take a deep breath on this one. Scientists have created the world's first living self-healing robots using stem cells from frogs. They're named Xenobots, and they're out to get you, evidently, after the African clawed frog. The Xenopus laevis, from which they take their stem cells. The machines are less than a millimeter or 0.04 inches wide enough to kill your brain stem, small enough to travel inside human bodies, of course. They can walk and swim, survive for weeks without food, and work together in groups. Of course they can! These are entirely new life forms, said the University of Vermont, happily, which conducted the research with Tufts University's Allen Discovery Center. I thought that said alien. Stem cells are unspecialized cells that have the ability to develop into different cell types. The researchers scraped living stem cells from frog embryos and left them to incubate. Then the cells were cut and reshaped into specific body forms designed by supercomputer, forms never seen in nature. Of course it wasn't, according to a news release from the University of Vermont. The cells then began to work on their own. Skin cells bonded to form structure, while pulsing heart cell or muscle cells allowed the robot to move on its own. Evil, I say, evil! Xenobots even have self-healing capabilities.
Come with me if you want to live. I'm a Xenobot.
Hold on just 1 second. This thing is trying to see, the robots are even trying to control my iPad. I'm watching this on. They're trying to split into a different page and force me to look at something. Oh, no. I don't want that. No, it's
I think we have the concept of this. More ways that they're trying to come up to kill us.
I got rid of it. Xenobots even have self-healing capabilities. When the scientists sliced into one robot, it healed by itself and kept moving, Dave. It just tried to split there, and it split in that article, these damn things. These are novel living machines, said Joshua Bongard, one of the lead researchers at the University of Vermont, in this news release. They're neither a traditional robot nor a known species of animal. It's a new class of artifact, a living, programmable organism. It's evil incarnate, Dave. It's going to take us over. It's going to eat all your Twinkies. You should be afraid. I should be afraid. Everybody should be afraid. I say shoot it in the face with fire. How do you like that?
That's one take on it. Sure. Why not? Shoot it in the face with fire.
Shoot it in the face and fire, make it die, then blow it up, then shoot it again with a shotgun, and keep shooting and shooting and shooting.
I don't know if you've seen any of the Terminator movies. None of that seems to work, Tim.
Oh, no. When you hit it with fire, they all die. Lava.
As a matter of fact, if I recall, when the big oil tanker flips over and explodes, all it did was burn off the fleshy part, and he came walking out all metal and robot-y and killy.
Do I need to spoil the new Terminator for you?
No, don't do it. I haven't seen it yet. La 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 la.
All right. Well, then don't argue with me. Don't argue with me then. I think it's time for Dave's bug story of the week. And actually, this would be our last story then.
We are here, folks. I promised you a creepy ass story. All right, so we've had bugs in the ear, a tick on the eardrum. We had a cockroach leaving a sack of eggs inside of an ear. We had an IV with a worm in it. Mm-hmm. It's like a tequila bottle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here's a new one for you, Tim. An otherwise healthy 10-year-old girl is featured in an alarming case report from the New England Journal of Medicine. The girl had been playing in a pigsty in rural Brazil 2 weeks before visiting a doctor. 2 weeks before visiting the doctor, Tim. For the 10 days leading up to her appointment, she developed painful and itchy lesions on her feet and toes, according to the report, with black dots in the center, Tim. Have you seen the pictures yet, Tim?
I'm looking at them.
The girl turned out to have a skin condition called tungiasis. Tungiasis, Tim. Mm-hmm. Midnight at the tungiasis.
Ew.
It's a parasite infestation caused by a female sand flea. The flea, called the Tunga penetrans, can spread the disease to humans and animals. Tungiasis occurs after the flea burrows into the person's skin. The fleas prefer to burrow in the toes, heels, soles, and rims of the feet, according to the World Health Organization. Who? I told you, the World Health Organization. Who? Oh, that's just the abbreviation, Tim. WHO, the World Health Organization. Who? In fact, 99% of the lesions caused by these fleas are found on the feet. The resulting rash in tungiasis infestation is pretty scary looking, with painful green spheres with black holes in the center.
Oh.
Black hole, son, won't you come? Scratch away the fleas, black hole son, won't you come? Won't you come? Perhaps the only thing worse than what tungiasis looks like is learning how tungiasis comes to be. Buckle up, Tim. Mm-hmm. A female sand flea burrows into the skin of an animal or a human, where she is then fertilized. A male sand flea will only fertilize a female after the female has started feeding on the host's blood. The female flea's hindquarters remain in contact with the air, providing an avenue for breathing, defecating, and expelling eggs, according to the WHO.
Sexy.
Not when I say the WHO, Tim, I don't mean Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend, but right. The World Health Organization. Right. During a period of 4 to 6 weeks, the embedded sand fleas undergo different developmental stages, producing eggs and eventually dying. The flea's eggs then fall to the ground. The sand flea that causes tungiasis can be found in tropical and subtropical regions, Tim. In South America, the fleas can be found as far north as Colombia and as far south as Argentina. Tungiasis has also been reported in the Caribbean, in Haiti, Trinidad, and Tobago. The WHO, again, not Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey, say Tungiasis can be found in nearly all countries in Central America as well. Once a doctor evaluates a Tungiasis rash, a number of treatment options can be put into action. One is the surgical removal of the sand fleas, surgical extraction of burrowed sand fleas in your feet, Tim. Mm-hmm. Should only be performed in an appropriately equipped health facility or by an experienced community health worker using sterile instruments, Tim, according to the WHO. Mm-hmm. After the removal of sand fleas, the sore has to be dressed appropriately, and then tetanus, not tinnitus, Tim. Tetanus vaccination status needs to be verified and a booster vaccination given if indicated. In some areas where Tungiasis is common, locals without access to doctors or sterile instruments end up removing embedded sand fleas themselves. Oh. Tungiasis can also be treated with a type of medicine called dimethicone, a topical antiparasitic that has also been used to treat head lice. Coconut oil-based bug spray might help prevent Tungiasis too. The regular application of coconut oil effectively prevents the sand fleas that cause Tungiasis from penetrating into the skin, according to the WHO. The patient in the new case report had received all her recommended tetanus vaccinations. Sand fleas were removed from multiple lesions. Her doctors wrote, luckily she had no complications at a follow-up appointment either. Oh, Tim, thousands of little fleas burrowing into your feet.
That's why you always wear your shoes.
Oh, God, make the pain go away. Mm-hmm. Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I kissed a ghost and I liked it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The taste of its ectoplasmic lipstick, Tim. Yeah, that's tomorrow. Concetta Bertoldi returns to our program. Interesting stories. You're going to want to tune in and be a part of that with us. That's it for this week. Remember, give us a call, friends, dear friends, at 651-300-4977, 651-300-4977 to share your stories. And if you have a card, a letter, something you want to send along to Tim or I, you can address it to Darkness Radio and then address it to one or the other of us at P.O. Box 22321, Eagan, E-A-G-A-N, Minnesota 55122. That's our address. Email me, Dave, at darknessradio.com if you would like to send along your spooky stories. And that's I think, about it for this week. Remember to check out our shop, our Amazon shop. You can do that by going to darknessradio.com, click on the store button, then click on the Amazon shop that opens up beneath it, and you will be able to find all kinds of cool stuff. I add new things every week, books on true crime, paranormal, and gift items. So there's all kinds of cool shenanigans for you to take a look at. You can order it right there. And my final plea to you, if you're interested in an autographed copy of my book, The Other Side, a guide to ghost hunting and the paranormal, that I co-wrote with Patrick Burns and Marley Gibson, you can email me. It is $10 for the book. It is $4.95 shipping and handling. I will autograph the book for you. I also have the just a few left of the Paranormal Challenge DVD set, Tim. The series I started on back in 2011 along with Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures. Fun TV series, all 13 episodes represented in one 3-disc set. I'll be happy to autograph that for you as well. I've only got a handful of those left. Those are $30 for the set, $4.95 shipping and handling. If you get the book and the DVD, it is just $4.95 shipping and handling charge, so you save money doing that. If you're interested, just email me, Dave at darknessradio.com. That's Dave at darknessradio.com, and I will respond to you. Just tell me what you want, the book, the DVD, or both, and then my wife will send you an invoice. Once you pay that invoice, we'll ship them out quickly to you. That's it for this edition. We'll be back again tomorrow with more of the best in Paranormal Talk Radio. I'm Dave Schrader. That's Tim Dennis. This is Beyond the Darkness.